Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bari Connected podcast. And we have very special guests today. We have the Bari Male Experience. Guys, say hello, guys.
Hey, how's it
Hi,
going?
how you doing?
We have Rabb Roberts, and Rabb is also known as his hashtag on social media is WT Barry. We have Tony Doyle, and his name on socials is Tony D427. And then we have Corby Ryan, goes by Ryan, and his is Fade Away Ryan. And so they also they'll be talking about each of their individual experiences with weight loss surgery and being a guy in the community, but also going to be talking about their podcast, which is called Bari Male Experience. And so at that, what I'm going to do is kind of mute myself for just a moment because I want to make sure our Facebook page is going strong. And I'm going to allow one of you guys to kind of take the headway and start in as far as introductions on what the Bari Male Experience podcast is, and then we'll let you guys each talk a little bit about each of yourselves.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Rabb, you want to take this one, my friend?
No, you got it, Tony.
Okay. All right. So the Bari Male Experience came about, I want to say roughly about 10 months ago, ironically, on International Men's Day. There was a social media panel that is run by VSG Bestie and Bari Pretty Pinup. It was called the Bari Intentional Chat. And I happened to be one of the males on the panel because, again, on social media and just in the bariatric community itself, men are the minority. There's roughly about 20% of us that make up the bariatric community. About 20% men have actually go through the bariatric surgery. So there's less visibility. So, basically I would probably see myself and maybe a couple more people, a couple more guys within all these chat groups on TikTok. So this platform was highlighting men in the community and basically giving us a voice and to kind of get a perspective from from a male point of view. And it had such an impact because I didn't realize how many guys were actually in the community that I had never met before. I was introduced to a lot of great people, and the buzz around just that live itself over the next couple of days was just the energy in the community. You could feel it. People wanted to see this, that people were talking about it. Every chat room that you went into, they were talking about like, oh, the guys, someone needs to step out into the light and really like lead the men. And I happened to stumble across a live with a content creator called Bari Mother. And she was basically calling out the guys. She had actually been on the panel and had talked to all the men on the panel and said like what the things that they were doing in the community, trying to shed light, trying to bring the guys out and to share their stories. And Rabb just happened to be in the comments with me. And she basically, who's going to be the man that steps out into the light and, to be that face and to be that voice to help draw the men out. And both Rabb and myself happened to step up and say, hey, you know what? We want to be those people. So Rabb and I actually went live together. Right after that live, we started to get feedback from people and people were behind it. So Rabb and I actually started to talk behind the scenes. We started to talk about like what would be our vision of what Bari Male Experience was going to be. We didn't even have a name for it. We just happened to come up with it. I think we fought over a name for it for a little while, but we didn't realize like, well, how would we go about this? And we actually had help from Anna and Shar that did the Bari Intentional Chat, and they helped us launch the Bari Male Experience. And we've been going every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern since January 2nd. We did 12-hour lives for a couple weeks in a row to get our following up to 1,000 followers. so we could actually be live on camera with the Bari Male Experience page. And we've been basically we're 33 shows in. And basically, every week we highlight a bariatric male, or we highlight a bariatric topic that is male-centered, and we give that perspective, or we have them share their male perspective about their journey, whether it's a struggle, whether it's non-scale victories, or just concerns that we have going out throughout the male community, whether it's the visibility of men within the community and the representation. We've had episodes about bullying and just like the overall atmosphere of content creation and the responsibility of content creators. We've shared a lot on people's nutritional, just nutritional health, exercise, people's gym routines. We try to cover a wide base, and a thing that we found a real focus on that we found that was predominantly like present in everyone's story, including myself. And I know Rabb and Corby actually came about joining, BME through this, was the mental health journey of going a year. As you head into a year, I'm out 10 months. I started to realize that I hadn't concentrated on my mental health journey. It was so focused on losing weight and just the strict regimen that I started to realize that I was ignoring certain parts of my journey. And as we started to focus more on the mental health journey, we came across Corby's content. We had him come on to our panel. We interviewed him and we hit it off. And we basically started to collaborate with him on mental health lives that we have through a private Zoom to give men a space to be able to share things outside of TikTok or outside social media, in a quiet space where men can share things and don't have to worry about any type of judgment or any type of noise as far as like comments. Or it's just a space for men to be able to share things, and nothing ever comes out of that Zoom call. So what happens in that Zoom stays in the Zoom. So, I mean, Bari Male Experience has evolved from the very beginning, and it continues to evolve and become bigger than I think Rabb and I ever envisioned when we first started this. Did I cover all of that, Rabb?
Yeah, I mean, you just about covered everything, Tony, as you normally do. Yeah, no, the Bari Male Experience is super exciting. We're ecstatic about what's going on with the men in the community. It's been really reassuring to know that we have a lot more men out there to turn to when we're going through these experiences and these changes during our weight loss journeys. The biggest thing that stood out for Tony and myself to begin with is that we found ourselves a lot having these conversations with women, and not that that's a problem, because we love all the women in the bariatric community, the weight loss journey community, and they completely stand by us 100%. They support Bari Male Experience. If it wasn't for the women in the community, there would be no Bari Male Experience. But we found ourselves in those conversations that we can't have with women. So we find ourselves kind of misplaced. And we wanted to develop this platform so that we can create a space for men, like Tony said, to share their experiences, to vent, and so on. Myself, I actually had the gastric bypass, the RNY. My heaviest weight was 328 pounds. And it's really not that much compared to most of the people that I've met in this community. But my health issues were. I had a severe sleep apnea. I was diagnosed with diabetes. I had really high blood pressure, and I'm a little bit older. I was hitting that 50 mark. I was 49 when I had the surgery. It's been about 15 months now. And I got to say, it's the best decision I ever made. All my ailments are gone. I no longer have those comorbidities. And it really brought to attention, what I was doing myself before I had the surgery. And it's funny that you really don't realize what's going on in your life until after you've gotten better in regards to the disease of obesity. So I'm really excited about where Bari Male Experience is headed. Tony and I, we've been rocking it. We have plenty of have a bunch of opportunity to hang out with like the waiting table, which was awesome to hang out with those guys. We're meeting all the big people in the bariatric community, and we're having an amazing time. We're so happy that Corby joined us. On the other hand, to give a better perspective of like what Tony had mentioned about with mental health, because I'm finding personally for myself that that's the hardest part about the whole journey is realizing the fact that these are things that I've never taken on before. And that's including not having a therapist in place. My therapist was food, and not realizing that and not being able to prepare myself for that before actually having the surgery. We really want to shed some light on that. And again, with the addition of Corby to Bari Male Experience, it's a huge jump for us. So.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful journey here. I'll give you guys my perspective from where they started for the Bari Male Experience to now. It began with the idea of men need a voice in the community, to now men are trying to address what are our issues in the community, what are our personal issues related to our journey, because men have a higher tendency to have the ability to be results driven. I look better, I have better muscles, these things, but then the emotional and mental side never gets addressed. So you have a lot of men physically looking good, but emotionally and mentally destroying themselves because they don't understand why they don't feel good inside, even though they feel like their outside looks better. So you get men tend to drive harder with the physicality of the aspect, because there's a concept in society or in the community that men have to be strong and present in this dominance of physicality. But then there's the characteristics of a man that come about of their emotion, right? If I was never taught how to regulate my emotions, what do you think was going to happen after I lost weight? I didn't have food to emotionally regulate my feelings now. I have to deal with them as they come and accept that I have these emotions, and I can't run to a bag of chips, or I can't run to a donut to reduce the feeling or to forget about what I was feeling in that moment. Right. I personally felt, even in my journey, I'm 4 years out. My actual anniversary date is October 12th, 2020. So I got less than maybe 60 days less to come to that 4 years. And what I've learned throughout this journey is, no matter the physicality of how you physically feel, if you don't address what you see of yourself purpose-wise and emotionally connect to it, then a lot of what you're going to be doing is seeking something outside of you to feel better inside of you. Right? You're going to seek something to make you feel better instead of what makes you be better for who you are to the world around you. Right? There's this concept that men are and I'm just speaking in the concept of the men's visual point that I've been studying and understanding, that I don't have time to tell you about my emotions. I just have to get it done. So now we're the mentality of just getting it done in the community or getting it done as a man. And then I don't have an emotional support because I don't know if I tell someone my emotion and I feel vulnerable enough to trust that it's safe. Right? Think about the things from childhood. I know there's concepts of boys don't cry, things of that nature, but we're making men see that vulnerability is a strength of theirs, right? Being open and emotional and talking about your feelings allows you to be heard and valid for who you are, right? And this is why the male experience is I will validate your feelings because your story is visible. Your message is visible, and you as a human being deserve that perspective, right? No matter what society or the world has taken away from that.
Some words of wisdom there. Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. I think uh, in your own specific journey with this, what would you say has been some of the biggest helpers to do that? Because that is a big thing, like knowing kind of like who more of who you are, not listening so much to the outside as what's inside, not reaching for food as a substitute for that, not reaching for maybe and it really pours over to other pieces of our other parts of our life, our relationships, um our even like things like our finances and other things. I mean, it pours over into all those different aspects. So tell us what it's been like for you specifically, and then we'll have Rabb and Tony also share on that.
So for me specifically, emotions are a roller coaster solely based on depending on what I feel from my environment, I then let it consume me and I will then respond to it with either would try to eat and I couldn't do that no more. So now I have to ground myself with my walk. So every day I go on a mental health walk, right? Daily. And that there has always been my grounding technique. I'll give you a short story about why that is so important. My mother 2 years ago had a stroke in front of me, right? Now, mind you, this is Thanksgiving, and I had to carry my mom down the stairs, and I'm seeing her forget my name, forgetting how to talk to me, and things of that nature. And I'm in full panic mode, and like, how do I grow up so fast now to try to figure out how to take care of my mom? Uh, and I remember leaving the hospital that day because I couldn't stay any longer. And instead of going back home to all the food on the table, ability to, if I were to use alcohol at that time, use alcohol to drink my feelings and my emotions away, I went to the gym and I was on the treadmill for about 3 to 4 miles and I was just crying on the treadmill. Now, mind you, everybody's like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And I'm like, I'm processing my emotions as I walk to ground myself so I don't respond to feeling like food is going to be my solution. So I say that to say is that I feel like every person or needs a grounding technique to be their foundation when they're overwhelmed with stress or when emotions move them so that they can understand that they're not necessarily a responder to their environment. They are a creator to their environment. So that was just me finding a way to be a creator to my environment again.
It's a great example. And thank you for sharing because I know that, I mean, that's a very personal experience. So appreciate that. Somebody out there might be feeling the same way. How about you, Tony?
So I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of Brian's response there because and use today as an example because today is a prime example of what my experience has been with struggling with emotional eating. So my current job now is I used to work in a hospital. I'm still in the medical industry, but I work from the opposite end of it now. I work in a warehouse and I supply instrumentation and implants to hospitals throughout the New England region. And basically, I left the job I was in for peace of mind, and I have found that that is not the case. Like I've basically put myself in a situation where the job is stressful, it's longer hours, and I'm finding myself in an area where people like reward each other or reward the team by giving food. And I was in a very stressful situation today. It was a very tough day. I'm still learning my job. I'm actually a warehouse manager, and they bought food today, and it just happened to be pizza. And I found myself emotionally eating while I was at work, and I was going back, and I went back for seconds later in the day, and to the point where my stomach hurt. So over time, I've learned that there are going to be days in this journey that you're going to feel like a failure. You're going to feel like, oh no, what am I doing? I'm resorting back to the same habits. We're going to have setbacks. And I've had so much advice from people in the community to give yourself grace, because there are going to be days, again, this journey, it's a marathon. You're in this for life. So there are going to be days where you do take a step back, but you can refocus. You can, like, you know what? This is that one instance. I could continue to emotionally eat the rest of the night. I could go into tomorrow and eat the same way, but it's accepting, like, okay, you know what? I probably made a bad decision, but I can now change what I'm doing. I can go back to getting back on track, go back to my routine, make healthier choices, and can just go over the things that I've learned over the course of my last 17 months for myself, developing those good habits and just practicing them. I mean, these are lifelong practices that I'm going to have to make and choices. And there are going to be days that, throughout my life where I'm going to make a mistake and I may overeat and probably make some poor decisions, but I can't beat myself up over it. You need to realize that you need to give yourself some grace, and you need to realize that, all right, I've made one bad decision here, but that doesn't ruin the journey. That doesn't ruin what I've already done and all the work that I put in already.
That's so beautiful. I just want to mention this. Men don't have a space to speak like that. That right there, right? So mind you, men would have tucked that in, never acknowledged it, never talked to anybody about it, and had the opportunity to calm themselves that I can do it again because no one knows about it. That's why we have Bari Male Experiences, for moments like that, right? The authenticity, and then because we're a team, the accountability that comes from that now. So thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, to know that you can share with other people and be like-minded. I'd love to hear. There's quite a few guys on this call, which I am so happy about. And I just want to say, if anybody does want to share anything while these guys are sharing their experiences, if anybody wants to share what works for them as far as keeping them going day to day, whether it be grounding exercises, whether it be things that just really help them push them along, including things like the podcast and things like that, type it in the chat box because we'd love to hear. And Rabb, now the tables are on you. We'd love to hear about you and what kind of keeps you going and what keeps you healthy and keeps you maybe motivated or determined, consistent, those type of things.
I don't know, Brenda. Let's throw a little bit of a wrench into it and give a little bit more what the Bari Male Experience is about. Myself, speaking for me, when I first got the call that said, "Come on in, we need you to do whatever test you need to take care of. We need to see and make sure that you are a candidate for the surgery." So I go in, I take care of all the things I need to take care of. Everything's good to go. I tell the psychiatrist whatever I need to tell her just so that I can get the surgery because I'm dying. So it was more what I remember the most was, will you be able to make the changes with your eating? Are you going to be able to slow down? Change those the structure of how you take food in, and being able to drink fluids 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, what have you, whatever. I can get it done. I can do it. Not a problem. The issue is with me is that once the food got set aside and the restriction became real, I then became, I got to the point where I've lost all the weight that I needed to lose. I'm where I want to be. I met my goal, but now I need to take on, who I am and get to learn who this new person is in this new body. And I have no clue, no idea, no one to turn to. I have no idea what's happening. And I don't know what it's like to be this new me. And I think it's good to point out that, again, like Ryan shared, this is a space, the Bari Male Experience is a space to share those feelings, where some of us just don't know what to do, have someone to reach out to. No, I mean, we're not nutritionists and we're not providers other than Corby. He's a licensed therapist. But Tony and I, at the beginning, we're just sharing experiences and just going off of, what other men had to share to, feel like we matter or like that we're accepted. And that's another thing, acceptance, not knowing how to deal with acceptance. How do you run with being all these years you've been looked down on, or no one looked to you to run the game or run the show or take the baton because you're just too slow or you're not fast enough, whether that be at work, whether that be on the track or playing a game. We've dealt with this for years, 30 plus years for most of us. And to get to the point where now you can do those things, you don't even know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with this body. So the importance of realizing that it's okay not to be okay, but being pointed in the right direction to, to better yourself, to have the resources that you need, to find a therapist, or know that there is, a platform for men to turn to when they're feeling this way, that it's okay to be vulnerable and share those experiences before and or after a weight loss journey.
Yeah. And I don't think that some people realize like what the platform has done for us is it's brought visibility to us. And I mean, so much more for Rabb and myself, because we've been doing this a little bit longer than Corby, is with us sharing our experiences, like including the struggles, is that, being content creators, we have basically allowed people into our lives, and they have seen the good with us, but they've also seen the bad. They've seen us basically break down when we've been at some of our low points. I mean, for myself, I've had a significant struggle with body dysmorphia. I mean, coming from 425 pounds down to 250. I've been at 250 pounds when I was younger, but I was, I didn't sag like I do now. I didn't have the loose skin. I was more solid. And even with the muscle gain that I've gained, no matter how much I look at myself, I still see the 425-pound person in the mirror. And it's hard not to blame myself for what I did to get to that point. And to mentally like tell yourself that you love yourself and to be proud of what you've done because you've done so much work, but to not feel that way is a struggle. And to be vulnerable on a personal level in front of everyone, including men and women, on a weekly basis, and in some instances on a daily basis, depending on how much you're on the platform, it's very tough to let someone into your life and to share that much of you, because you leave yourself open to judgment, and there could be ridicule in there. There could be a lot of support, but again, in the weight loss community, there's a lot of judgment.
And I think you have the point too, where you're talking about judgment. Sometimes it's hard because there are a lot of opinions and things, and sometimes we forget that our opinion is the most important. The opinion that we have of ourselves, it's the most important. When leaving everybody else out of it. And really, for me, personally, I think the weight loss surgery journey has been incredible in that because of all the personal development. And it sounds like all of you guys are doing that. And a part of that for me, it's become part of my lifestyle every day. That's when you were talking, Ryan, about your walks and that type of thing. For me, I think fitness is a piece of it because you release some of that energy, that built up energy. And especially when you're out in nature, you're able to connect with that. But I also think those little pieces, and I think each of you guys are doing that, is every day finding something to kind of like connect with yourself, check in, and then finding things that just help you with that process. For me, it's reading books, it's listening to motivational videos, it's connecting in support groups like this. I mean, this is so important to know that you're part of a community and know other people are having some of the same things, because it makes you realize you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it gives an opportunity for a voice. And I think there's the concept of you lose the weight, but you don't know your voice now. So now you have to create what that voice looks like, and then look what you want to create it out of, right? I practice in my therapy is based off of narrative therapy, REBT, and then also existential. And the existential component looks at what is your why, and then who are you, right? So I tell myself every day I had to ask the question of, why do I exist, right? I used to think about it of all the external reasons why I existed for everyone around me, and realize how I was still not loving myself properly in doing that. I would exist for whatever, my mom wanted me to do as far as career life. I exist for whatever the relationship I had at the time, but I never existed for me. My existence was okay if I had food. So now I don't use food for my existence. I have to now answer that question daily. I exist for the opportunity to connect with people in a space where I feel visible, right? I exist in an opportunity for me to share my story, my strengths, what I've learned, and what I continue to go through in this process. I exist in the sense of learning that love is not just an aspect of saying the word, but the teaching mechanism I'll give to people and the opportunity to share that with the people that want to connect with that. That's the beauty. I take the self-actualization of life and transcend it to the people around me.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. We also have a comment on Facebook I just want to share. Brian says, what keeps me going is wanting to defeat my health disorders and showing them that if I own them, they don't own me. And I've learned to love myself this year, and it's helped a whole lot.
That's beautiful. Because that's what it is. It's rewriting that narrative and knowing that I can conquer the things that I said was killing me, but now I have the strength of knowing that I'm not dying from them no more.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all suffer from hero syndrome. So basically, when we were at our heaviest, we had no control over our lives, but we had control over helping other people, and we had no problem helping everybody. I went through experiences like, oh my God, Tony, you're the nicest guy ever. And like, oh my God, you're so much help. Like, and at the end of the day, I could always feel good about like what I did for someone else, but I could never feel good about myself. And this part of the journey, you have to learn how to pour into yourself and do things that make you feel good. Things that a lot of us had forgotten because we spent so much time trying to help everyone else and ignoring our own health and ignoring the things that we love to do. And relearning to do all the things that we love to do when we were, at a lower weight or when we were in a happier point in our life. Relearning those things are great because now you're rediscovering yourself and you rediscover new things that you weren't able to do before or you weren't interested in, but now are. And that's the exciting part of the journey is discovering new things or rediscovering old things that you loved. And as you pour into those things and those new adventures, you realize, like, I'm living again. You're not going through your daily basis of your day, just going, okay, I get up in the morning, I go to work, I come home, I eat dinner, I go to bed. And I might say hi to my kids in between that. Now I'm sharing experiences. I'm going back to water parks. I'm going camping again. I get to go fishing. I get to interact and do things with family and friends, and things that I just was too embarrassed to do because at a heavier weight, you wanted to be invisible. And I'm okay with being in the spotlight again and being confident, with, walking around and being the person I want to be. Yes, we have our struggles where, we get that, that it creeps back in. But when I could be 90% the person that I want to be, and I could work on that to get to where I'm 100% all the time, I'll take 90% any day. And it's a great feeling to be there and to feel like that.
Mm-hmm. I'll even piggyback on that aspect. Now, when it comes to speaking on how I feel, I'll take ownership in the good and the bad feeling. So, for instance, if I feel like I'm having a bad day, I will say, yeah, I'm having a bad day, but I won't let my actions align with quitting on myself because I had a bad day. It's now that, yeah, I had a bad day and I'm willing to still put in the work to get the day done. So it's not allowing your thought process of how you feel to align with your actions, which I think is a very powerful thing, because a lot of times we take how we're feeling about ourselves and not noticing the actions we're doing to get better. Right? Like, you can have all this weight loss gone, right? But not acknowledging the work you're putting in, or the work you did put in to get where you're at.
And it's not just
And
about the weight, I mean, that's just a manifestation of all the other changes that you've made. It's so much more, so much more. And day by day, realizing that. It looks like Ernest says, it's very hopeful to know one day I will get under 400 pounds after weighing in at 400 today from 436. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord.
amazing.
Awesome,
It's like
man.
believing in
Beautiful.
yourself and like, I think that's almost like a knowing, like, that you are gonna get under that 400 pounds. You are gonna be a different person.
It's it's amazing what hope will do.
Mm-hmm.
Having a little bit of hope gives you, and when you start to believe, it's a huge motivator. And I think that the more that you get motivated, and the more that, that hope grows, and you have faith that one day you're gonna get to that goal. Well, and it doesn't matter. Like, again, you can love that fact that you're looking at that scale and you see you're down to 36 pounds. But I'll tell you what speaks louder than that scale ever will be the things that you can physically do. When you can
Mm-hmm.
physically, like, run up the stairs, you can physically run down the street with your kids, you can ride a bike again, you could fit in a booth at a restaurant and not have your stomach like hanging over the table. You can unlock the gas tank, without having to open the door in your car when you get to the gas station. It's those little non-scale victories that motivate you to keep going. And again, and like, to piggyback off of what Corby said, it's those things that you pour into doing that make you feel better. Because again, you can feel bad all you want. Like, I messed up. I feel bad about, like, I shouldn't have eaten that bowl of ice cream or the pint of ice cream. But guess what? You know what's better than that feeling of ice cream is when you feel after you go for that walk, after you finish
Mm-hmm.
working out, after you go for that hike, like in the woods. Like, those little things that you weren't able to do is a I can't explain, from my experience, is the best feeling ever. And it outweighs anything I've ever felt bad about. And I would fight to have that feeling again. That's why I go to I work out. And this is why I continue to do the things that I do, to be consistent and to build that consistency. because again, those feelings of things that you weren't able to do before are more powerful than that voice in your head that says, I need the extra cupcake, or the little, yeah, you feel better in the moment, but why would you want to feel guilty afterwards? I never feel guilty about being able to go for a walk with my kids, or to go out swimming at the pool, or to go on vacation and not worry about whether I'm going to fit on the airplane. It's those little things that mean more to me than anything.
Yeah, it's I want to even piggyback on that piece, like the idea of having hope. No one of us knew what we would look like after the weight loss. All we knew was the scale was going to be smaller. The scale was going to be lower numbers. That's it, right? So the idea is that we had so much blind faith in the outcome of what we're going to be on the other side of this, is to say that we had hope in ourselves. That's it. We had hope in ourselves, not knowing that, yes, the number is going to reduce, but I look a lot better. I feel a lot better. My identity is aligning to how I really visually see myself, versus me saying that I was big, but I never realized that I was that big. I'm coming from 835 pounds to now I'm 382. Right. So there's a significant amount of weight loss to say I've lost a whole few human beings. And now I'm trying to figure out, wow, I didn't expect me feeling the way I feel now to be aligned to the thought. I was like, man, I miss whoever this person was, because he was trapped in his body. Right. He was trapped in this picture of what's going on with yourself. Right. And even I'll take it a step further to kind of show you guys, like, from an idea of how powerful the brain is, like real life demonstration. I'm gonna ask you guys, when's the last time you ate ice cream? When's the last time you ate ice cream?
Yeah, type in the chat box if you're on the live.
I haven't eaten ice cream in at least a year and a half.
Okay, so can you remember the flavor or what it might taste like?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's think about this. Real time, you can remember the flavor, the taste, and all of that right now. You probably feel it on your taste buds, the familiarity, right? That's the power of a past memory bringing it into the present moment, and you're not actually eating the ice cream.
Right.
So think about what we did with our body and knowing what we wanted to taste like or feel like of the future version of ourselves. And say, I didn't necessarily have to eat the ice cream in order for me to feel that right now. I already knew the feeling. I created the feeling of what I wanted to feel like for the better version of myself. And I primed that by going about chasing it daily. And that's how our mind works. Our mind can't tell the difference between a past experience or a present experience, right? It can only tell the idea that we're feeling that. So if I want to feel better, and I have a prime vision of the future self version of me that felt better, or what I want to look like, or what I wanted to feel like, and I can prime that feeling in the here and now, I'm already winning at the hope and faith I have that this will work. Right? That's the beauty of all of this.
So I want to piggyback off of something that you had said earlier, because you had said something about the scale being able to measure. So again, the scale measures your weight loss. But again, that scale is going to move up and down wherever. And again, it really will mess with your head throughout your journey, especially when you get into maintenance and you might gain that 10 or 15 pounds. It happens. It's going to happen whether you fight it or not. Your body is going to settle where it wants to settle. So yes, you can use the scale as a measuring tool, but what is it really measuring? Because a scale will only measure your weight. It can't measure your happiness. Non-scale victories and what you physically can do can measure your happiness. And that's what is more important. A scale doesn't tell you you're healthy. It just tells you weigh a number. You know when you're healthy. You know when you can walk down the street and not be out of breath. You know when you can go up the stairs. You know if you live in a city and you could run after the train and not be out of breath and not have people holding the door for you because you're struggling to catch up with them. there are things that you can measure that will speak, again, louder than that scale ever will.
Yeah, and also, I want to throw this out here, an alley oop to you, Corby. You know, me personally, we talk all the time, you, me, and Tony. The hardest thing that I have come across, and I'm speaking for those of you who may see this recording or are in the comments that won't say anything. And that is, you know, yes, you're being accepted along your journey. You're gaining more acceptance. People are noticing the changes in you. The doctor's saying you're doing great, but you don't know how to accept yourself. Self-love. It's become a really hard part of this journey. Speaking for myself. I think it would be safe to say that therapy would be the best way to go to help you orchestrate a plan to move forward and strengthen your goal to accepting yourself and self-love. So,
yes, I wholeheartedly agree, because if you have no idea how to love yourself, and I've said this before, and I said this specifically to Rabb because we were on a live about this. Rabb was, I was telling Rabb, like, you know, he has children. I say, if your children was hurt or bleeding out, how would you want to save them, right? And he's like, I'll do anything for them. I was like, why can't you do that for you? Because that's what self-love looks like. What you're willing to do for you to stop the bleeding of how you see or feel about yourself. And no matter if the scale gets lower, because that's just one part of it, right? You have to feel better. You have to believe in the feeling of feeling better for yourself for it to be a reality.
Yeah.
We have a comment here too. Ernest says, yeah, my weight hasn't gone down in a few months, but still dropped 2 shirt and 2 pant sizes and another 2% body fat. The scale is definitely not the end all. And so I'd love to know from Ernest, type in too, let us know, like, what other changes have you seen, like physically? Because I think it is, you know, some of the things that Tony mentioned earlier, you know, going on vacation, fishing, going with riding in the airplane seat without having to have an extender. I mean, all of these little things, you know, we don't realize how much of a big deal that is. So, guys, I'd like, since we're getting kind of close here on time, I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you're doing with the Bari Male Experience and how they can connect with you. I'm going to actually copy in your email, your YouTube, your Instagram, Facebook handles, and each of your private ones as well, while you're talking about that.
So I want to say they can reach us on Facebook, they can reach us on TikTok, they can reach us on Instagram. Our biggest following is currently on TikTok. That's where we do our live. We do stream on YouTube, and then we post it as well on YouTube. One of the things I do want to make visible for guys who are on their journey or who are working to be on their journey, you're not alone. You're not alone in this journey. You're not necessarily doing this by yourself. There are men out here that are willing to share and be present with you, even though they might be miles away. We'd rather hear your voice so you can feel validated for who you are, right? I have personally, I have a private chat on Slack where I have men come in there and we do a daily check-in to see how you're doing, what's going on, show us your progress. I do the men's mental health shop talk. I do that Monday. I used to do it once a month on the first Monday of every month, but now I'm doing it twice a month, so every 2 weeks. And we have one coming up this week, coming next week, August 19th, where we'll be doing it starting off on TikTok, at 7 p.m. Central Time, and then moving from there to the Zoom platform, where it's a private Zoom with just men expressing their feelings, their emotions, and getting the things off their chests. But I also want to acknowledge the men who want to participate in the activities that are in the community. There's a bariatric retreat that is coming November 7th through the 10th, and we are fundraising men to be participants and part of that, right? We are fundraising men in the sense that we are going to price match whatever is put in and make sure that we can get up to 2 men at the bariatric retreat. All you have to do is submit a form, which is on our TikTok. And on that, you submit a form, tell us your journey, tell us your story. And then from there will be a selection that will be coming in the month of September about that. But I want you guys who really want to participate and join, it will be a ticket for you to be a part of all the different events and activities, and you'll meet all of us. We have a panel that's going to be there. We have a live panel there with other men speaking about the Bari Male Experience and getting involved. And really want to see this 100 men be there so that we can have representation, not only for the community, but for each other to know that we have a voice and a stake in this idea of going through surgery or going through our journeys in the bariatric community to feel validated.
Yeah. And go ahead, Brenda.
No, I was just gonna cheer on that. Go right ahead.
So again, like Corby said, we are fundraising. So in the link in the Bari Male Experience page on TikTok, again, our link tree is in all our social media platforms. So you can find the link for that form, so you can apply for it. But there is also a link in there to donate. So we are asking people in the community to help, to help fundraise for men to be able to go to the bariatric retreat. So we can try to hit that goal of 100 men. But we will price match basically between Bari Male Experience, Bari Nation, and the Bariatric Society. We will help be able to bring men to the bariatric retreat. And there is nothing more important to us than community. The bariatric community has been very helpful for us. Support is everything, and the community has been everything to us. Again, we are on a male-focused platform to support men, but we recognize everyone in the community. One person that we do need to shout out, and I can never go unnoticed, and she does so much work for us behind the scenes, is our friend Shar, BSG Bestie. Without her help, we would have never been able to launch the Bari Male Experience. She hosts her own podcast every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern called Talk Bari to Me. I have to shout that out. She is such a pivotal person that is so instrumental in helping to get and promote this lifestyle, the lifestyle of community and helping people and outreach to making sure that people are successful and giving people information within the community about everything bariatrics, whether it's on health, whether it's on mental health, whether it's on physical health, whether it's on nutrition or vitamins. There are people in this community like her that are just so instrumental in influencing us, and that just drives us to be able to bring the same content and the same value to the men and to everyone in the community. So a shout out to our friend Shar and her sister chat, Talk Bari to Me.
And
Yes.
real quick before we go, Brenda, I have to give you a personal shout out because we've talked a few months ago. And in our conversation, you said, you know what, I got to share something with you guys. Bariatric is anyone on a weight loss journey. And that has stuck with us. And we've shared that throughout. One thing to keep in mind is because of that statement and that information that you shared with us, we've been able to expand our efforts for men, and that includes any man, male, or anyone on a weight loss journey here, regardless whether it be surgery, medication, and or natural. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that knowledge, because it's something we just didn't know, and we appreciate you for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We don't think about it that way. Like sometimes we think the word bariatric means that you had surgery, and it's definitely, there's a lot of different people, and especially nowadays, since there's so many different people coming into having weight loss in a lot of different ways, medications and everything. So whatever that person chooses, that's the best for them. So yeah, you kind of spread your word on all different kinds of platforms as well. Thank you for sharing that. I also want to say these guys are also, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor and say that they are very strong supporters of ProCare, which is our sponsor, and have been just wonderful at cheering us on. So thank you guys for that. Tell us what you guys' favorite products are for ProCare, which is our sponsor.
All right, so mine is. Oh, go ahead, Corby. I know what you want to say.
So my two favorite are the Turmeric Plus and the 50 billion CFUs. The 50 billion CFUs helps with the gut digestion, which really affects your mental health. If you have a bad stomach, you're going to have a bad day as far as your mental health, because you're going to be so worried and anxious about what's going on there. So yes, it has been definitely terrific. And then the Turmeric Plus helps with the joints after doing a walk or working out, so the recovery time is shorter.
Yeah, and I got to go with that mixed berry multivitamin. It's so easy, and it's a chewable, and it's like ones that I've tried before. They've had like that chalky taste to it, but this one I look forward to taking every morning. I really do appreciate having that in my cabinet to use as a multivitamin supplement. So
mine is and it's only seasonal, but I made sure that I stocked up on it so I could get through the summer and the fall, is the chocolate, those little chocolate calciums. I love those. It's the greatest thing ever, because I have, since surgery, chocolate has become my thing, and for me it feels like it's a treat. I love those. I love the chewable multivitamins, because I don't like to take pills. And if you like Starburst or those little high chews, that's exactly what these things are like. They're phenomenal. If you don't like taking pills and you love candy, it gives you the closest feeling to it. But I have to say something that is not an actual bariatric supplement that you're taking, and I just got it, is the little funnel with the I could put my protein powder in it, and I could put my vitamins in it. It is the greatest invention ever. I never forget, I've been able to pack it into my lunch every single day. It just goes into my bag. I remember the first day I walked into work, I was like, oh my God, I forgot to take my multivitamin. I opened up my bag, and there it was. It was there. I'd never forget my multivitamins through, when I'm at work in the morning or in the afternoon. And I could have a protein powder shake on my way home, because I have it all just packed in that little container. And it is the greatest invention ever. I love that thing.
Oh, you guys are awesome with sharing your products. I'm going to jump on to our ProCare site and show those items so that people can see what you guys just shared. And also, these guys are an affiliate of ProCare, so you guys can save some money. You get 10% off on your order by using their personal link and code, which is B as in boy, M as in male, E as in it stands for Bari Male Experience, BME 10, the number 10. It's not case sensitive, so you could do that, and people will get 10% off products. I have down the link as being Bari Male Experience, and that is not correct. That is actually your email. So I'll find that here in just a second. But I'm going to jump on here to the ProCare site and show the products that each of you were just talking about real quickly. If you're listening just on the audio, which some of you may, especially on the replay, I'll kind of point to where you can find these items under the different product listings. So when you get to ProCare, under products, for the multivitamins that these guys were talking about, Tony and Rabb, they're listed under bariatric multivitamin under products. And basically, when you get there, you're going to look for the little chews that with the bottle that it's right here on the actually little pop up here, right here, this very first one. And anytime that you subscribe, you actually save a little bit more. So you could get the discount code BME and BME 10. And then also if you subscribe, you actually get another percentage off, another 10%. So just more ways to save. We also have under products, we have the calcium, and Tony mentioned the chocolate calcium. Those should be coming back pretty soon, within the next probably couple months. We only sell them during, we only sell them during the cool months. And when it's hot out, they melt. So they're one of our, I will say they're one of our favorites. So fall of 2024, those will be coming back, but those are always super delicious. We also have the turmeric and probiotics. Those are listed under therapeutics, under products, under therapeutics. And when you go there, I actually take the turmeric too. I just think it's good for inflammation, and the probiotics is really good for your gut health. So this 50 billion CFU probiotic, there's a bottle count of 30. Again, if you subscribe, you can save just a little bit more on that. But the pricing on that is $26.09 for a one-time purchase and $23.48 for a subscribe. And then under the turmeric, go back to therapeutics there again, and that is listed a little ways down. Sometimes you have to pull the page for some of these things. There's also a search button at the top if you ever just want to make super things a little bit easier. There's 34 therapeutics. So here we go. It's right here. So it's a 120 count bottle. I typically take 2 of them a day. Corby, how many? Or I call you. I go between Corby and Ryan.
It's fine. I'm probably going to just start telling people just call me Ryan forever. But no, turmeric. I take the 2 pills of it.
2 of them. Yeah. So that bottle would last, 60 it'd last for 2 months. And then you also mentioned the protein funnel, and that can be found under extras. A lot of people don't even know about that, but it is such a cool little thing. It's under this extras. So you click on the extras and you'll find the protein funnels there. Which color do you have?
Green.
The green. Oh, yes. That's awesome. So I also just want to say with ProCare, any of our Very Connected podcasts like this, you can find under the ProCare Health Very Connected tab. And when you go to the tab under Very Connected, today's event will be under there. This was recorded, so sometimes it takes it a second just to pop up. But if you click onto that, all you have to do is click onto it. You'll get access to the on-demand recording immediately following. So we also have other events that are happening that have happened, like Rodolfo's event last week, and then we have an upcoming support group tomorrow night. Be sure and join us for that, guys. It's Habit Changers Tools to Transform, and that's tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. All of these recordings, including this recording, will be listed on our YouTube and on our podcast, usually the following Tuesday after each event. We also have a Facebook page and a Facebook group that's listed at the bottom of this page, and you can click on there and join us too. These guys are part of that group too as well. So communicate with them. And in just one more way, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And while you guys are giving closing thoughts, I'm going to kind of mute myself for just a second.
All right.
I think I lost you.
So, closing thoughts about Bari Male Experience, I would say, are in any experience you have, it's the journey you take with it. I think about the idea of people who are ultra runners. when you're doing an ultra run, yes, you start off with maybe 50, 60 people, but then you start to weed out yourself in the pack. But the idea is that you're on that journey together because you guys are all trying to get to the finish line. I think in this journey here, we're all men just trying to get to the finish line of who are we at the end of the day? And what do we bring to ourselves for us to be a part of the world we're around?
Whose turn is it?
Yeah, let all you guys share.
That's it in a nutshell for me, Tom.
So again, this journey, I always have something to say. I'm the quiet one of the group. But this journey, you need to be mentally prepared. Again, you can have all the tools, but if you don't use all the tools, and that includes, your mental health, be mentally prepared, because this journey is long, and you need the mental health to help you further down the line, because when you do lose the weight and you do settle into maintenance, your mental journey is what's going to keep you strong and what's going to keep you motivated and keep you on track to be successful. And it's really important to have that support. So, have your therapist, because I'll always promote therapy. It's done wonders for me. Again, it's still a journey, and I'm going to continue to work on it, but have that support group. Have friends like I have with Rabb and I have with Corby. They're like brothers to me, and I'm glad I have them along my journey to help support me when I'm not in therapy, and when I could just make a phone call to reach out to them and be like, hey, you know what? I'm struggling. Or, hey, you know what? Guess what I did today? Having that support and having that camaraderie and having that community is very important. And it makes this journey more enjoyable, and it makes it easier knowing that I have someone I can lean on.
Yep. And don't hesitate to reach out to us. Bari Male Experience at gmail.com. Brenda's put all the contact information in the chat. Make sure you reach out to us. We will definitely get back to you if you something where you want to share your own story. Hey, we'll bring you up to the panel so you can have your voice and share your story. Bari Male Experience is for you. It's for that one who needs to be heard, and we're here for you. So
thank you guys so much for being a part of this and for coming on, being vulnerable and sharing your own stories, sharing all about how these guys can connect, sharing how basically how they can join you in community live event. I think it's great. I love the idea of being able to see lots and lots of men at these events and so forth, because I remember this is the fourth year that the Bariatric Society has had these events, and I've went to each of their events. And I remember the first one, there was maybe one or two guys there. The second one, there was a few more. The third one, last year, I bet there was probably at least, I'm going to say 30 to 40 men. But I mean, who knows, maybe even over 100 this year with all the hype that you guys are placing. So it's great. And I look forward to seeing you guys there too, in person, and getting to shake your hand, give you a hug. So thank you so much for being here, and all of you that joined and spent time on yourselves, making yourselves the best version of yourselves. So lots of thanks. And yes, it looks like there's comments. I love the idea. Donna says, thank you so much. I'm going to rewatch it, and being more confident with self-love too. And I think sometimes we don't always hear everything during the call itself. Going back and re-listening is such a great way to pick up things. You hear things that you're like, there's no way they said that during that call, because sometimes just your state of mind and where you're at. And when you're in a focused and being able to listen again, come back and listen again, because you can always hear more tidbits. So appreciate you guys. Everybody have a great evening, great week. And I also want to mention Corby is going to be joining me very soon as well for another event. He is going to be joining me for our September support group. And that is coming up on September 17th. He's going to be talking about living beyond the scale, redefining health and success. And I'm actually going to paste that in the chat box in case anybody wants to go ahead and just register now. We actually have a link for registration. I'll post that on the Facebook page real quick here before we jump off the live. So I got it posted there. So if you enjoyed hearing from Corby is going to be one-on-one with us and talking from the therapist standpoint and sharing. So,
and Corby is amazing.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you guys. Everybody take care and have a great evening. And Shar is on our Facebook page and just cheering you guys from there, along with many others.
We love you, Shar.
We love you, Shar. Thank you.
We appreciate all of you.
Appreciate everyone. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye, everybody. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.